Hey everyone, today's video is going to be about writing long. And so we said for the discussion, you need to have 4 chats and then one writing long. And what that means is you'll do 2 to 3 paragraphs and you will choose one of the jats. And so I'm going to look at my jats and then I'm going to look at my note sheet and think about which question is speaking to me off this sheet. Thinking about character because that's what we're assessing you on. So don't talk about like setting or necessarily like the plot line. Maybe it'll tie in, but making sure it focuses on character. So when I read through my 4 jots that I took, one that I'm feeling like I want to talk more about, and this happened to be at the end of Mice and Men, was on page 107. And I wrote down that this is talking about characters' feelings, but George feels obligated to shoot Lenny. And I jotted down some other notes that I was thinking about when I wrote this one, because I was thinking about how Candy's dog got shot, and then how Candy felt bad and said he should have shot his dog and not let a stranger do it. And that makes me think about, why does the character feel the way they do? So when um, George shot Lenny, I was like, oh my gosh, why would he do that to his friend? And why didn't they just try to run away? And like, why? Like, I just felt like that was not what I was expecting at that moment. And so that is the one that I'm going to write long about. All right, I wanted to model how I would write long and how that process would look. So I picked the Post-it note that George feels obligated to shoot Lenny. And I want to look back at my question that I picked. And so my question I picked was, why do they feel the way they do? And so why does George feel the way he does? So I'm going to write it up on here. You would write this in your notebook. You could also, if you would rather type, you could also type it and have that ready for your discussion and have that ready to share with Mr. Fritsch, Miss Demichi, or Miss Caberline. And unless they say they'd rather not have you type. So, but anyways, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to do some writing and show you guys how I would answer that. And I'm sort of pausing because I'm also thinking how I'm going to start. This is how I write, is think about it before. So I'm debating if I should just start saying, I think George feels obligated to shoot Lenny. That's why I think he's feeling the way he's feeling. Or I'm not sure if I want to go into my opinion first. And so it's definitely okay to use I and to add your opinion. The thought here is to write long to get your thoughts out. And so I'm going to say, I was surprised at first. They're writing on here. I was surprised at first when George shot Lenny. I think George felt obligated to shoot Lenny. And notice I'm taking this right off my Post-it, my jot, and that's completely okay. That's when we have our jots. And so I'm going to just start to jump in then to some textual evidence as to why I thought that, because I want to support my thoughts with textual evidence. So I'm going to pause it, do some writing so you don't have to watch the whole thing, and then I'll show you and come back once it's a little bit more done. Okay, so I was finishing my writing, and I could not figure out how to make this so I could scroll or make like a second page. But I did find out that I could make lines on here, which is super cool. But yeah, I couldn't figure out how to do that. Anyway, so I wrote the other part of it in my notebook. So my long write turned into 2 paragraphs, and this is what it says. I was surprised at first when George shot Lenny. I think George felt obligated to shoot Lenny. The reason I think this is because good thing I'm rereading what happened with Candy and his dog. On page 21, Carlson shoots Candy's dog. I cannot write with this marker. For him, and I thought if the dog had to die, it made sense for someone else to shoot it. I can't imagine having to shoot my own dog. Then on page 61, Candy said that he wished he would have shot his dog instead of a stranger. I think that George had that in the back of his mind. Lenny probably would have been shot no matter what, and so George wanted to make it as peaceful as possible. And so I'm planning on writing a little bit more about how my opinion then shifted. This is where I have gone with my long write so far. I also think that if you write and you only write one paragraph on something, like my initial reaction is thinking, okay, did you pick the right post-it? But I suppose too, you could then write about a second one. The point of the writing long is to take a small idea and form it into a big idea, kind of like how you guys are doing with your blogs. But this will prep you for your face-to-face discussions that you all have, where you guys will be talking face-to-face to each other. So this will help you formulate those ideas. So I guess if you choose two topics, then you're kind of thinking about two topics, but you might not have as much to talk about. So try to pick a really good jot that you can just really focus on those 2 paragraphs to 3 paragraphs on that one jot during this process. All right. Happy reading, guys. Bye.